This week on Kevin and Drew Talk Movies.
In Sector 7G.
Yeah, that's right. What's going on, folks? How we doing out there in podcast land? That's right. It's another edition of Kevin and Drew Talk Movies, and my choice for this episode is the A24 film Lamb, which was like, what was it, 2018, something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
What did you choose, Drew?
I chose Whiplash.
Whiplash.
I think it's a 2019 film, 2018, somewhere around there.
With J.K. Simmons, a.k.a. Just Kidding Simmons. No. And Miles Teller. Yeah, so fucking A. We'll talk about other movies that we've watched in the before getting into those. And we'll do a little snapshot. You want to clap the board?
Yup.
And I'll do the drumsticks.
Yup.
Ready?
And go.
All right. So what's going on, Drew?
Oh, not much, man. I just got off work, so I'm excited to go to this Metallica show.
I know.
Tribute thingy with you, though.
Speaking of Metallica, Whiplash, that's one of their songs. So it's fitting.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, did you watch any other movies? I
actually watched a lot of movies this time around.
Oh, shit?
Yeah.
Throw one at me.
It was my sister picked a movie. It's called Urban Legend. It's a really cheesy slasher movie from the 90s. It's like that on that whole trend. Like it's like if you've seen I Know What You Did Last Summer or Scream or like any of those movies, it's very much in the same vein. The only thing that sets it apart and makes it kind of interesting is that the serial killer is taking like local legends that happened in the town and then like making them into like these killings that are a reality. So like that aspect of the movie was pretty interesting.
Okay.
Like because like it was like some pretty creative death scenes, kind of like Final Destination, the first one, where the death scenes are like,
I hear they're coming out with a new one.
Man, I wish it's just like,
I know, I'm sick of these remakes and reboots
and fucking,
and
well,
sequels.
it's just like, it's just like, look at Fast and Furious, man. They just won't fucking stop making those movies.
Yeah, they're
it's
out
like
of
the
control.
Saw movies, like all that
Don't
kind
they
of
go
shit.
to space or something?
Yeah, some bullshit like that. Also, shout out to my buddy Darren on the Slobby and Marvin podcast. He mentioned me, so I wanted to mention him back. And if you don't listen to their podcast,
go
check it
that
out.
shit out.
Check it out.
Subscribe and shit.
But he was kind of talking about that same shit on their podcast. He's like, I'm really fucking tired of all these dumb movies that they just won't let it die. They won't let it stop making.
It's a cash grab, man.
Yeah, and I'm over it. That's kind of why I'm kind of glad we pick a lot of.
Has there been any? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. We tend to pick more like indie films or like lesser known films for the most part. I mean, I think we've picked a few like real famous movies. But,
yeah, like Joe Dirt or something.
Yeah, but for the most part, well, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I picked that one. We did like a comedy one.
That was a good one.
But
hey, by the way, this is our 10th episode together.
Shit.
Movie podcast episode
man.
together.
Cool. We're really doing it. We're really doing a thing.
Surprised, dude. I was like, oh shit.
I love talking about movies, man. I know
this is fun.
But yeah, so I mean, I feel like so many movies today, they just keep having more and more sequels or spin-offs. They're just like, man, just write some new shit. You can always come up with new shit, and that's kind of like, I mean, Urban Legend is like it's got the same problem. There's like 5 of those movies. They really only needed to do one.
That's what I was gonna say. Is there any good sequels that come out? Like, what was the last good sequel? I mean, minus all the Marvel shit.
Right, yeah. Aside from Marvel, man, I can't really think of a good sequel movie that I've seen.
Right.
Like, honestly, like, I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a good sequel movie.
Right.
I mean, I know
one that did as good or better than the first.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's some.
Yeah, you'd have to like rack
but I'd have
brain.
to like actually think about it because well, and that's kind of another thing too, man, is like the like superhero movies have fucking plagued the landscape. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's some of those movies I fucking love. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 came out. I saw that movie fucking 2 times. I liked it so much. Like, it was a great fucking movie. It's well done. I think James Gunn is kind of the man. Like, he has that like formula figured out in a way where he can make it enjoyable even for people that aren't nerds that like, love those characters. Like, he like writes interesting stories and does like interesting enough things with his characters to like engage you in a story even if you're not a superhero fan. But I'm fucking tired of those movies, dude. I want some new shit. Like, it's like and I'm kind of tired of cliched action movies. I mean, I love Keanu Reeves, and his John Wick movies are fun, but I'm kind of glad he's like done doing them.
4.
He's supposed to be done because he died. Spoiler alert: he dies in the 4th movie. So hopefully, like, those movies are done. Actually, you know what? That movie sequel, the 4th one, was actually better than the 2nd and the 3rd one.
Okay,
it was almost as fun and good as the first movie. I would say like the 4th one was, out of all the sequels to that, was probably the best one actually.
All right.
So that
I haven't seen any of them.
No, that's okay. And if you do ever watch them, I know you're not big into action movies. I just watched the first one. I wouldn't even bother with 2, 3, and 4. Honestly, like, they're like fun. Like, if you like just like want to drink some beer, like smoke some pot, and like watch like a movie you don't have to think about.
Right.
Like, they're fun for that, like killing time. But
right on. Let me throw a movie at you.
Yeah, go for it.
Raging Bull. First time watching.
It's on my list, man.
Martin Scorsese. You never seen it?
No, man, but I've always wanted to because
It's pretty good.
I actually really like boxing movies. I like, I'm really into like watching boxing and MMA, so I really usually enjoy those movies, even though I know
you like Rocky.
I actually do like Rocky, man. I think
Mike picked it one time, and like to me, I was like, I don't like Rocky as a character.
No, he's kind of a scumbag.
He's a douche. Yeah, he's fucking.
You kind of actually want Apollo Creed to whoop his ass.
Yeah, that's fun.
Honestly, the first 2 Rocky movies are really good.
Oop! Notification.
Oh, this. I gotta. Can we pause
take
for
this?
quick?
Yeah, we'll pause. All right. And we're back.
Hey, sorry about that, everybody.
So yeah, Raging Bull, that was pretty fun. What else you got?
So we watched another horror movie called Barbarian.
Oh, I've seen it. It's pretty good. I kind of like it.
I would say I liked it until the very end, and to me, like, the end of the movie is just really silly. You know what I mean? Like
I'm trying to remember what happens.
So it's like the
spoiler.
Yeah, spoilers. But like the demon lady that's in the movie, they like run her over with a car, and she's fine. Like, she like rips some dude's arm like out of his socket, and like
the black dude.
Yeah, and like hits him over the head with it. It just gets so silly. I was just like, all right, you lost me, and like I
get that, but up until that, it was pretty.
No, yeah. It's like, I feel like
you got Justin Long in there.
Yeah. I really liked it up until like the last 20 minutes of the movie where they kind of explain her and the whole situation. Mm-hmm. I kind of just liked it more. I kind of wish they hadn't explained it and they just let it be its thing. Like, I kind of wish the movie had ended when Tara escapes the house and just like, well, that was fucked up, and then it's just over, and they just don't explain it. Like, I honestly would have liked the movie a lot more, because I feel like sometimes with movies like that, they just take it too far, and then it just becomes silly.
Yeah,
like,
cartoonish.
And there are some directors that can pull that off. I think Sam Raimi is really good at that, where he's like really good at balancing horror and humor. But I don't think it was supposed to be funny in that movie, and there were parts where my sister and I both laughed. I was like, this is so dumb. Like,
LOLing.
Yeah, I didn't like the whole she's basically an inbred monster thing. Like, and like it was just like, it's like her dad is just some dude who lives in a cave. It kind of it actually really reminded me of that. The end scene in the movie reminded me of the end scene of the movie I picked, Parasite, a few weeks ago, where it's just like a guy living in the basement and you didn't expect him to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except like it's not as well done as Parasite.
I know that movie's fucking
Yeah,
insane.
I was just like, I wanted to like that movie so much because, you know, up to a certain point, the premise was cool, and I liked this weird. I was like, "Oh shit, is this like a sex trafficking thing? What's going on?"
You get the
like, I really wanted there to
Skarsgård in there. What's his name?
Well, and like the up in like his death scene is like really shocking. I was like, "Oh, you know, I didn't see it coming."
I mean,
for a long time, I was like, "Oh, I was like, oh, he's a scumbag. He's like,
right.
You know, he's like tricking girls into like
that part." Like the beginning was all interesting, how they like double booked this Airbnb and shit, and he's there. He's like, well, you can stay if you want or whatever. Yeah, I mean, that whole premise is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I liked, like I said, I really liked the first half of the movie, and then like the last 20-30 minutes, it kind of goes off the rails.
All right.
Yeah, you go ahead, man.
Let me throw another one. Blue Valentine. I really love this one. It was pretty good. I made a post about it. Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams. It's like a drama, romantic drama about, marriage and relationships and that sort of shit. I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good. I recommend it for those of you out there. I thought like Gosling, that was the best acting I've ever seen him do.
Honestly,
I don't know a whole lot of his movies, but so far
he's
that one.
Actually a good actor, man.
He's in that new Barbie movie.
One you should check out that you actually might like is a movie called Drive, if you've never seen that one.
Oh yeah, I know of it. I feel like I don't know if I've seen it or not.
It's a pretty interesting movie. The whole premise is he is basically a getaway driver for bank robbers, but he's like a Craigslist getaway driver for bank robbers. But he just, because of the life he lives, he keeps. Like his life keeps escalating further and further and further into like craziness because he's like keeps doing all these things he shouldn't be doing. So it's a pretty fucking good movie, honestly.
Hell yeah! What else you got?
I actually watched a couple of anime movies.
All right.
Actually, these are some of my favorite movies, man. So there's this animator and director. He does everything by hand. So one of his movies is actually completely drawn in watercolor. Like it took like 10 years to animate the movie.
Holy moly!
Because it's all watercolor. Yeah. I didn't watch that one this time around, but all his movies are hand drawn, hand painted. Like they're really fucking cool. He's essentially like the Japanese version of Disney. But I think his movies are a lot better. So I watched two of his movies. I'll just do a double whammy with them. One is called Howl's Moving Castle, which is kind of like a romantic drama type movie. The main character is a girl named Sophie who becomes cursed by a witch, and so she, even though she's like a young woman, she appears to be like 90 years old. So she has like to deal with all the problems that an old person has, and then she becomes employed by this like really handsome magician in his castle, and like it's like about them basically trying to break both of their curses. I guess it's kind of like a Beauty and the Beast type. It's like a reverse Beauty and the Beast where it's like the girl is the one with the curse on her instead.
Always flipping gender roles.
And then this one, the other one is one called that I really really like. It's called Princess Mononoke. It's about a young man who gets cursed by a demon, and so he rides to the west to try and beg the gods to heal his curse. And while he's doing that, he kind of gets involved in like a samurai war. They're like warring over this town that is filled with iron, and essentially he like never takes a side. He's like more trying to like. He's kind of like the peacekeeper for everybody, like the gods of the forest, the samurai, the people of the Iron Town. Like he really is just like trying to make the world a better place, but also save himself. And it just paints the world in a really interesting way. It's very much like an anti-war, pro-nature movie. It's fucking really good.
Hey, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
The last one I watched was The Machine.
Oh yeah, I wish I could have gone and seen that.
Yeah, Bert Kreischer. It was fun. It was me and CJ and Will, my buddy Will, Mike, and his girlfriend. We all went, And fucking, dude, it was fun. It was about, what I expected. Some good laughs and then, action and some physical
Right.
gags, that sort of thing.
Ridiculous a little bit, yeah.
But as far as, a comedy action movie, it was pretty good, It was fun. Mark Hamill in there and shit.
He's kind of the reason I wanted to see that movie.
That's why Mike went, too. He was like, yeah, I'm mainly going for Hamill. He's like, I'm not the biggest Burt fan, but Mark Hamill, that's my guy.
Yep. Same, man. I'll watch any movie that dude's in, even if it's bad.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was fun, dude. It was fun. Fun time. What else you got? Anything else?
Not off the top of the old noggin, yeah. We probably need to get into these other movies anyway.
Which one you want to get into first,
Let's do Lamb first, because I that one is, I just finished watching it today. I actually fell asleep watching it last night, so I watched the rest of it at work.
What the fuck, man? Like, how come my voodoo didn't work for you?
I don't know. So it's funny because when I asked you for your password, I actually had logged into Keith's Roku, and it was like somebody named Mary's account, and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't use this. So then I logged into my Prime app on my TV. I turned off the Roku, and then it logged right into your account when I went to the Voodoo thing. I think it saved it from the last time you let me use it.
Yeah.
But it just, every time I tried to play the movie, it just looped it. So it would start, and then it would just go right back to the screen, would you have 33 hours to watch this movie. I did it 3 times, and I was like, all right.
You watched it on Roku?
I actually
through the Roku.
I actually watched it on Prime, so I actually.
Well, I mean, you were trying to.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Maybe try getting the app on PlayStation or something. I don't know.
Well, I was using I left the one on Roku, and I used the Vudu app on my smart TV, and that wasn't working either.
Oh,
so
damn,
I was just like, fuck it. I just went on Prime, and it was on
shitty.
I think Stars.
Showtime, I think.
Yeah, Showtime. It was $8 to start a Showtime account, and there's a bunch of movies I'm gonna end up watching on there anyway. So
you started a Showtime?
Yeah, I was like, fuck it, I'll just start the Showtime. It's only fucking $8.
They do got some good shit on there.
Yeah, I was like, so I'll cancel this in a couple days, and then I'll just use it for the rest of the month.
Right.
That's usually what I end up doing for that kind of stuff.
So yeah, all right.
I did finish it. Yeah.
Oh, this is 2021. I think we said 2018 earlier.
Yeah.
2021 horror fantasy movie, A24. It's Icelandic. They're from Iceland.
I was going to say, I actually recognize the actress that plays the main character in this movie. Yeah,
she's in some other stuff.
So she's most famous for the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies. That's where she got her big break.
I've never seen them. Are they good?
The first one's really good. I would recommend watching the first one. But the other two kind of...
Are those subtitle movies?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she is a Swiss actress, I'm pretty sure.
She's pretty hot in a unique way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When she was younger, she was super hot. If you go back and watch her in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo movies,
is she the main person?
Yep. She plays the main girl. Yep.
Oh, did not know that.
Yep. So the first one is, like I said, really good. And then the other two kind of suffer, the same thing that all sequels suffer. They kind of get less good as they go on. But the first one is fantastic. She's also in the newer Alien movies. She plays the main doctor. So she's in Prometheus, and then she has a cameo in Alien Covenant. So those are her big movies that she's been in.
Right on. All right, so this is director Vladimir Johansson, I believe. That's how you pronounce it. We got an 86% Rotten Tomato score, 61 audience. I feel like it should have been better, but,
Oh, man.
The tagline is simply Mother Nature. And it's mother period, nature period, But I do, this is a big spoiler alert. I do recommend people watch this movie before listening to this,
Yeah.
Because
we're going to ruin the shit out of it.
Yeah, it's one of those big spoiler movies.
Yeah. This is a weird fucking movie, dude.
Did you like it or no?
Honestly, man, I almost feel like it's a movie I need to watch again, because my first watch, I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? So on the first watch premise, I didn't like it that much because I was just like, I was trying to like figure out where the movie was going with its premise, and then I don't want to get to the end too quick, but I was just like, man, I watched it. I was like, man, what the fuck did I just watch? I was like, what did Kevin just make me watch?
I thought you would like it, dude. Yeah, I thought it'd be right up your alley type shit.
Yeah,
I mean, it is kind of horror.
The horror stuff. The horror element to it, I liked to a certain point. But the end, I was just, it took me by surprise. The end, I was just so kind of like, I was just like, huh, well, that's fucking weird.
yeah, dude.
And just the whole movie, I was just like, huh, that's like, okay, example, when Ada is born, and it's like this half sheep, half person. I was just like, what the fuck is that thing?
Did you know at first, like, because it doesn't show it at first?
No. I was just like, I was like, all right.
They help give birth to it, and then they just like look at it all weird.
Well, so yeah, I was just like, huh, I wonder, because it did look a little weird to me, but I didn't really put two and two together at first.
Right.
And what's really crazy is that is actually alive, like that happened. Like they actually did videography of lambs giving birth. Like that shit's real.
Yeah, it looks real.
I was reading about it, and I was like, oh shit, that was not like CGI or any, like that was
really
actual lambs giving birth. Yeah, I was like, that's kind of wild. But yeah, so like the Ada being a half sheep, half person thingy, I was like, that threw me off. I was like, okay, it's kind of fucking weird. I was like, but I can roll with it, whatever. Like,
yeah.
And so you kind of they're just kind of like playing family, and you're just, you kind of like, it's like, well, I was like, you know, they never really get into why they don't just have kids of their own. You know what I mean? Like,
they kind of do. Well,
it's kind of they hint at it like that they can't.
Well, they had a kid.
Right.
Who died.
Right.
Spoiler. But yeah, I don't know if you caught that or not, because at the beginning of like chapter 3 or whatever, it shows her like at a gravesite, and there's, you know, on the cross it says Ada whatever.
Oh, you know what? I think I missed that. See, this is why I needed to watch this movie again. It's like,
yeah.
I feel like this is a 2-watch movie. Like I think the first time you watch
this is my second time watched, but the first time I really liked it. So
yeah,
we have different perspectives, I guess, on our first watch.
Yeah, the first watch I was just kind of like, what?
It is a bit of a slow burn type of movie.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel I'm still hooked watching the whole thing. The whole God, burping up a storm today, but
Well, the thing that I like though is that he doesn't try and over-explain things. So I do like that about this movie. That he kind of just lets it be what it is.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess after watching the movie, I'm just like, huh. I'm trying to figure out like what the message of it is supposed to be. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like I'm still like kind of flabbergasted by it. I was like, okay, well, like what are you trying to get across with this? Like, this is kind of wild.
Yeah, it's an out there movie, dude. Yeah. The sheep gives birth to an unusual baby, and they don't show it for like the longest time. Like they
have it like wrapped up in a blanket,
or like cut off from the screen or whatever, from the head up or whatever. But but this is a note I wrote. I said, how did she not ask him if he fucked the sheep?
I was thinking that the entire movie. I was just like, until the very end, I just like,
yeah.
I was like, all right.
How did that question not come up? You know,
well, that was like in the scene where he like goes down. I was like, okay, so he goes down on his wife. Does he not put it in there though? I was like, does he only put it in the sheep? Like what's going on with this? Like, is that why she looks unhappy all the time? Like, I was like, what's this fucking story, man?
Yeah.
But I think there are like subtle things I probably missed. Like I said, I did fall asleep the first time trying to watch it. So I tried to like remember exactly where I was and pick that up during today, because I really wanted to get the podcast out and done today. So
yeah. And that's what I appreciates about you. Yeah. At certain points, the mother lamb keeps coming up to the window. I felt bad for the mother lamb, bro.
I did too, man.
The mother sheep, whatever.
That was a little bit fucked up, man. Like,
it keeps coming up to the window and like begging for her child because her child's in there in like a crib and shit. Because they took this sheep baby hybrid. Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. And they're just playing family with this. And it's weird because like at certain points throughout the movie you see that the Ada is kind of understands them and shit, you know what I mean? She knows what they're saying, what the parents are saying. Yeah,
because when they talk to her, she nods, she understands, she nods.
Yeah, so she's like smarter than the sheep, obviously, and
well, that is kind of something I really like. Also about this movie is that Ada never speaks. She kind of just communicates through body language and nods. I actually really like that about this movie. I feel like Ada understands a lot more than what she's letting on.
You think so?
I think so, yeah. I kind of when she's like looking at things like
there is the point where, like we mentioned the mother coming to the window, but there's the point where she goes missing and then, she finds her with her mother like out in the field or whatever. And then, fucking, her name's what, Maria, the mom?
Yeah, Maria. Yeah,
she ends up killing the mom. I was like,
shoots her in the head and buries her, yeah.
Bro, damn it.
Yeah. It's like partly, seems like it's partly annoyance, but like also like partly jealousy.
And that part when she finds Ada with her mother and she like takes her back and then like screams at the sheep. I forget what she screams, but that shit was like powerful. Just like go away or something like that. Yeah, that's fucking crazy, man. Yeah, they just keep ripping her away from her mother and shit. And then the other part where like the random brother shows up. He's like he just gets let out from the trunk of a car and shit.
He's really kind of a scumbag, honestly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But there's kind of something I picked up on watching it this time. Like, as I noticed things more in the latter half of the movie, because that was the part that I just watched today.
Mm-hmm.
That scene where he's, like, coming on to her, and she's like, no, stop it. And then she like kisses him a couple times.
Yeah.
And then shoves him in the closet. And then later when she drops him off at the bus station, they have like a long hug.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like dawned on me. I was like, maybe they've fucked before. Like maybe she's like cheated on her husband with her brother.
It does kind of seem like that.
Like it really, it's kind of like, it seems like, because like she doesn't really act all that upset like a normal person was. Like, what do you like? A normal person, like if their husband's brother came onto him, would get fucking pissed. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't be like a oh ha ha stop it kind of thing. It'd be like, or like a oh no don't do that. It'd be like, hey, don't fucking touch me. I'm your brother's wife. What are you doing? Like,
right.
But Marie like was kind of just like, no, don't do this. Like it was just like, I think they fucked before, and I think that's why he is so comfortable just like coming onto her. And I mean, it could have just been because he was liquored up, because like liquor does give you extra courage that a lot of the time that it probably shouldn't. But at the same time, that's not really the vibe that I got. And so like it's really seemed to be that Marie and the brother Peter,
yeah,
kind of were not very good people. Because like I kind of noticed too how many times Marie mentioned to Peter how like Ada was the second chance for them, like it was like a chance for like a good life, then like that's kind of like what seems to be a big theme in this movie is like if I was to take a message from it, it's to that children are kind of like a second chance for people. They're a chance to be better, chance for like a better life, to like be more upholden. But I think Marie kind of ruins that when she kills Ada's mother, and then just the whole.
I don't know, I felt so much for the sheep, the mother sheep.
I think you're supposed to, man. He's just like, it's kind of humans being greedy. Like they're really just kind of playing family with Ada, but they don't really. I don't think they fucking really understand her very much. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of just playing house, but they're not really a family. Although it did kind of break my heart when big spoiler alert, the fucking weird giant sheep person shot Ingvar in the throat. See, that part is good. Like at one point, it's like I was torn by that scene, because at the one point, the scene where Ada just kind of puts her head on Ingvar's chest, and she's like very visibly upset that she knows what's happening. Like, she knows he's dying. Yeah, she's very upset that she's being taken away. So that was heartbreaking, but it kind of like the weird giant sheep person kind of broke that tension for me. Like I feel like if he would have been shot and you wouldn't have seen. Like, I feel like it would have been, like, this is just me, I would have been better not to show the giant sheep person. It would have been just better if...
Well, that's the thing, man. It's right at the end of the movie, so it's not that big a deal, I feel like, but...
Nah, man, I
felt, if they wouldn't have showed it, what would you think happened then? I mean...
I kind of, like, because, like, that... It like the way the movie ends, it's just Marie finds Ingvar's dead body and Ada's gone, and so it's just like a very bleak ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was, even if they hadn't shown the sheep person, it still would have been a very bleak ending, because Ada's gone, Ingvar's dead, and Marie's just kind of alone now. So either way, the movie, like the showing the, like I think actually that is what threw me off in this movie, because I think that giant sheep person showing up is like it just doesn't serve the movie at all. I think that is my biggest criticism of this movie, is that like
that part like fucking got me the first time. I was like, holy shit, I did not see that coming.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
See, I kind of did, because they kind of foreshadow it with the dog.
Yeah, well and like at the beginning, it's basically, you're kind of seeing through his perspective. You just hear like heavy breathing and shit, and I guess I didn't really fucking focus on that the first watch and shit, but yeah, looking on the second watch, that's obviously the the goat man or whatever.
Yeah, it's like they foreshadow him a few times in this movie, but I think showing him, it was just so jarring, and his presence is kind of an unnecessary one. Because they could have ended this movie the same exact way, and it would have been just as visceral, because Ingvar's dead, Ada's gone, and Marie she has to completely start her life over, and she doesn't know what she's going to do, like, because her second chance is gone now. Like it's like her second chance at a good life and at being a mother. It's like that's done.
Yeah, I think we should mention how it's just them two basically raising. They have like a goat farm and shit. They're
basically poor farmers.
They're farmers, yeah, but it's like just them. There's no one else around. It's like a fucking in Iceland, like
it's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
it's
kind of like there are places in the, well, maybe not in the United States, not so much anymore. But there used to be places like that in the United States where, well, I guess maybe like Wyoming or Idaho, where if you have like a big plot of land, you wouldn't see another person for miles. And it's kind of
my dream home. No, I'm kidding.
Real talk though, like,
for real,
man.
But I did want to mention, speaking of that, the setting and everything, that the cinematography in this movie
it's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so good. It's like just the camera angles, the just a beautiful fucking mountain, scenic fucking.
It's a very well made movie. It's just it's just a weird movie.
It is weird.
It's like
It's A24. What do you expect?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, they're the same guys that made the Florida Project, and I fucking love that movie because I guess it's
right, A24.
It's I mean, some of their movies I feel like
there are some hit or miss ones.
Well, they get their point across a little better. Like you kind of understand the point that the movie's trying to make, or like what this stance is, like what it's about. This movie's a little harder to. I guess that's what made me not like it so much. Is I'm harder to grasp because I didn't really vibe with any of the characters too much. I mean, I didn't mind Ingvar. He seemed like a good dude. Like
that's the thing about this movie too, is like there's not a lot of dialogue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like few and far between.
Yeah, there's really only aside from Ada, there's only 3 human characters. Like,
right. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like only one of them is a good person. You know what I mean?
You mean Peter or not Peter?
Ingvar.
Ingvar, yeah. And they're, you know, fucking the brother. There is that scene where he's about to take Ada out and fucking shoot her.
Yeah, that got me in the feels. That part definitely got me in the feels because like I kind of felt for this child, like misfit, not really sure where she fits in. Like it's not I think she kind of understands that her parents are really just kind of playing house with her. I think she kind of gets what's going on a lot, especially after seeing her reflection. I think she kind of understands, like, oh, I'm not really like these people.
Yeah. Well, see, that part, whenever, you know, that's the part where they're all drinking and shit, right? And Ada goes out with the dog, and then you could see her see the goat guy, but, you know, it doesn't show the goat guy, but she sees him, and that's when he kills the dog and shit. Then she goes back in and looks in the mirror and shit.
Yep. Well, and she, like, it's kind of an interesting thing because she seems afraid, but it's almost more curiosity than fear. Like,
yeah, that makes sense.
And
there's also the part where the brother's trying to feed her grass and shit.
Yeah.
He's like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?"
He's a dick, man. He really is. Like, I feel like a lot of people have that asshole brother who's like selfish, and you can't really trust him for fucking anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you love him because he's your brother, but you're just like, yeah, I love you, but you're a fucking piece of shit. Like,
yeah, that happens. Let me see if I got it. There you go.
I don't know. I guess I kind of thought the ending was going to be bleak, but I kind of hoped that it wouldn't be. And I guess that's the part, I guess, that's fucking with me is like the one person I was like, he's a good person. He deserves to have a good life. And he's the one that gets shot. Like, if anything, Marie is the one that should have been shot. Like,
what? Why do you think she was so bad? Because she killed the mother sheep? And
I feel like
she probably cheated on him. Yeah, you're right.
She killed the mother. Just seemed kind of... She seemed to have a lot of secrets that she was keeping from Ingvar. That's kind of the impression I got from this movie. And I don't know. It just seemed... I feel like Ingvar's interactions with Ada were more genuine, where it was like he was accepting this thing and being an actual father.
Yeah.
Whereas for...
Like, he tells the brother when he shows up, the brother meets Ada, and he's like, just don't you could stay here as long as you want, just don't interfere with our family and what we're doing here, you know?
Yeah. Which
he eventually does interfere. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they hint at how they... like we said earlier, how they had a child and it died or whatever. So they're basically, this lamb baby is, filling that hole for them.
Yeah, it's like really like a second chance for them, and I think that's kind of the other thing where I think until Ada comes along, Maria's really just kind of going through the motions. She's kind of just done with life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That seems Ingvar seems to be the more warm and lively of the two.
More, yeah.
And I also think that's why Marie gets so jealous when Ada leaves and goes off with her mother. It's like this is really like a. It's like she wants this to be the thing that fixes their life. You know what I mean? And she doesn't want anybody to interfere with it. And you can
think you're exactly right.
I think that's like a lot of the visceral moments with her are because of this thing, and and it might. I don't even think it's reaching, and she might even blame herself for the child's death because, like, you don't know. They don't really give us any backstory on it. It could be could have been a miscarriage, or it could have just been sickly. Like we don't really know anything about it. They don't really talk about it, really.
Mm-hmm. Here's one of my notes. You get to see her tits.
You do.
That's one of my notes. So, I mean, they're not big, juicy tits or nothing, but they're fine, humble tits.
Humble and perky. They're.
Yeah, I like a smaller tit sometimes. Why not? All tits are great. All tits matter.
It's a slogan this podcast can get behind.
We're gonna have all tits matter t-shirts.
All tits matter.
We'll be selling all tits matter t-shirts on our website. No.
And then like it'll be all tits matter, and then for the boobs it'll be both of our faces wearing sunglasses. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Mike might be here. Anyways, we should wrap this one up. There's one thing that I still don't understand about this movie. How did the goat guy get the gun? Do you know?
I mean, I would assume. I think that they kept the gun in the shed because Peter had access to it. So he probably could have just gone and got it from the shed at any point. Because I'm fairly certain that was their gun that he used.
Yeah. That's what that's the impression I got.
Come in, Mike. Come in. It's okay. We're just talking movies. Oh, you're good, brother.
I haven't turned that thing on in forever. But yeah, so you're probably right about that. But it is it's basically eye for an eye,
Yeah.
Because he killed the mother sheep. Or she killed the mother sheep,
which
and
is
then
why he shot Marie.
He killed her husband.
Yep,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
great movie. Rewatchability.
I kind of personally. I feel like I said, there's things where I'm just like, man, I feel like I need to rewatch this movie to get a better perspective of it. Because right now, I'd probably be sitting. If we're ready for ratings,
yeah.
I'd probably give it a 5 or a 6, man.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't vibe with the ending at all.
I'm around to 8, bro. This movie fucking rules. I like it. The cinematography's great, like we said, and just beautiful. Yeah. And I thought, and I like how the twist is right at the end. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's, it's one and done. It is a bit of a slow burn. You got to read the movie.
But see, that part doesn't bother me at all. I'm so
there wasn't a lot of dialogue, so it didn't. Didn't really matter.
Dude, I watch anime movies all the time. I don't give a fuck about reading subtitles.
Right. All right. Well, let's take a quick break, yeah?
Yeah. Hop into it.
Jump into Whiplash.
Whiplash them titties.
All tits matter.
All tits matter. That's a new podcast slogan. In Sector 7G.
And we're back to talk about Whiplash.
What did you think of On the Wizard?
You know what I thought of On the Wizard? You don't have to say it now, but I was thinking, do you already have your next movie picked?
Kind of.
I do.
I need to look at my list of movies, but I think I know what movie I'm going to pick for the next one.
All right, cool. That's what I thought of on The Wizard.
So Whiplash, man.
Whiplash, 2014 drama music movie. 94 on the Rotten Tomatoes scale. 94 audience. So the audience and the critics agree that this is a pretty great movie.
This is I'm gonna say this. This is a fucking intense movie, man.
Yeah,
I knew, like, from everything I'd seen of it previously, I knew it was going to be, but I didn't know, like, just how. I'm just saying, J.K. Simmons is a fucking bastard in this movie, dude. Like, how over the top he is, like, and I was just like,
you can kind of compare him to Arlie Ermy in what's it called, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, where he's just like does not give a fuck about people's feelings.
Yeah.
Like
also he's got jokes, but he's just a super intense, asshole guy.
Yeah, when it's like I think this movie raises an interesting question, where it's like, okay, intensity, pushing yourself is a good thing. But where do you draw the line with obsession?
We're about to spoil this movie for Mike.
He wasn't going to watch it anyway. There's no explosions in this movie, Mike. It's not for you. Sad tear. But no, so essentially, the main character, Miles Turner, he is...
Miles Teller.
Yeah, sorry. Turner Teller, same shit.
I forget his name in this movie.
It starts with an. He always calls him by his last name. That's something I kind of. It starts with an N. It's like Neckerman, some shit like that.
Yeah, here, I'll look it up. But yeah, go for it.
But he always calls him by his Niemerman. It's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
But he's always calling him by his last name. But he's like this very promising drum student, obsessed with drumming, and it's going to the most prestigious music school in Neiman. Yeah,
you had it.
So he's going to the most prestigious music school in the country, and he's very, he's talented, but he's not up to like a professional level yet, and that's where J.K. Simmons comes in, because he sees like this somewhat talented kid, and he feels like if he pushes him, that maybe he can be great. Right. And that's kind of like his whole character. Like, I kind of you really kind of get to see his mindset a lot later when they're at the bar having that conversation, where he's like, the worst phrase that's ruined so many promising people in the English language is "good job." He's like, don't ever tell a talented person good job. Yeah. When he's talking about that famous drummer Charlie, he's like, you think anyone ever told him good job before he was famous? He's like, fuck no. He's like his music teacher made him cry and threw cymbals at his head.
Oh yeah.
And like it was like, and that's like, and he does that. He throws a fucking chair at him, like. And this, it's like I think it very much so is a movie about obsession. Like, you don't have to be. Like, everybody has their passions, but I feel like the few people are obsessed to that level. You know what I mean? Where they like that one thing they do that they love, that is their passion, is like that's the only thing about them. Because like the girl he's dating, she's a really nice, like, cute girl, and he's like, look, essentially he tells her she's not good enough, and he's like, I gotta use all.
He's basically just focused on his, drumming, his talent and shit, and so he doesn't have time for a girlfriend. Right,
but basically he tells her if he is to date her, it's going to hold him back, which is essentially the same thing as telling her she's not good enough. And that's I mean, it's a very brutally honest thing to tell someone. It's a little fucked up though. And it's kind of ironic that he later in the movie, when all that shit goes down, that he, does that classic man thing where he kind of hits her up. He's like, I'm sorry I treated you like shit. You didn't deserve that. Yeah. He's like, but, I'm going to have this cool little music show. You want to come? It's like, well, let me get my boyfriend's. He's like, oh, shit. Okay. I fucked up.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of that bar scene, it's like, what's his name? Terrence. Something Terrence.
But Terrence, the
Terrence
J.K.
Fletcher, yeah.
Fletcher, the music
he
teacher.
believes that, like, his methods are necessary to make, like, the most perfect drummer or whatever,
Well,
to push a player beyond their expectations.
Right. He doesn't believe in coddling. He doesn't believe in giving compliments. He believes in pushing his students in a way that is going to make them better, and he'll do it through violence, through belittling, through
yeah.
He's
got some jokes, man.
Yeah.
And he says
he's fucking.
He says some slurs and shit.
Yeah. J.K. Simmons is. I mean, his performance in this movie is fucking awesome. Like, he's a great actor, but I kind of opened my eyes, like, to, like, really see his range in this movie, because a lot of the times he's kind of like the chill dad character, you know what I mean? Like, he's been that character in a lot of movies, or he's been he's Jonah Jameson in Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
I talk with my hands. Fuck you, Mike.
No, he was doing the Spider-Man.
Oh shit, my bad. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I thought you were doing this, and I was like, don't you?
It's good to talk with your hands. Yeah. It helps you be more expressive.
Yep.
But this movie has won a lot of awards. I'm gonna throw that out there. Academy Award for Best Sound Mixing, which I didn't know was a thing.
Dude, it's like, some of the scene in this movie, it's so intense, man. Like,
J.K. Simmons won a lot of these awards.
Like the scenes where he's drumming and his hands are fucking bleeding, and he's like not stopping because he's just so intent on like being like he said that thing he says to. I don't remember if they're like his cousins or what. Like he's
brothers, I think.
Yeah, but
brothers,
he's having like
maybe cousin. Yeah, they're at that dinner.
Like, but with his family, where he's basically telling him he's
Paul
like,
Reiser is his dad.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh shit, it's the dad from Home Alone. It stuck out like a sore thumb when I saw him. But and he's basically telling, like, because they're like, we're these, big. We're these hot shit football players. He's like, you're fucking 2A. He's like, you're never making it to the NBA. Like, he's like basically talking to him. Well, how Fletcher like talked to him. Like, it's fucking brutal.
Well, it's like everybody's brushing off his talent. His whole family is like kind of overlooking what he's doing, but they're like complimenting the brothers or whatever and shit.
Right,
and everything they're achieving.
And that's kind of the thing, was like, and that's true. That's true for us. Maybe fucking, this is generous, maybe 10% of college athletes making it into the NFL, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And most of those guys are like fucking Division I players. Like, they're in like the elite college. They're playing double A. Like, or no, actually, I'm sorry, they're playing triple A. So they're like in the bottom football league, like, for college. Like, they're not even in like the mid-ranking teams. Like, they're pretty run-of-the-mill. It's like, yeah, they're basically, what he tells them is, you're basically just big fish in a small pond. He's like, you're not really shit. And he's like, and you're never gonna make it to the NFL. He's like, but with what I'm doing, he's like, I've got a real shot at being an actual like paid musician. And he's like, I kind of I think his comment to them after that, I was just like, it makes a lot of sense, like, especially for people that are like at the top of their game, like people that are like the top musicians, top athletes and shit like that. He's like, because he brings up that famous drummer, I can't think of his name. He's like, you think he was well liked? You think he had a lot of friends? He's like, no. He's like, but people remember who the fuck he is. And that's kind of like, I feel like a lot of those people have that mindset where, like, they don't fucking care if you like them. They want to be the best. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's all that matters to them.
Kind of reminds me of Black Swan in that way, where she has to be perfect, Yep.
Yeah, it's very it's got to be an exhausting mindset to have all the time, man. To like
just obsessed with a certain thing.
Yeah, it's wild.
There's some other awards. Screen Actors Guild for Outstanding Performance, J.K. Simmons. Best Actor in a Supporting Role, Just Kidding Simmons.
Dude, that scene though.
Best Film Editing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good.
But the scene where he has the three drummers, he's got Connolly, Neiman, which is Miles Teller's character, and then the original first chair drummer.
Yeah.
And he's just cycling them one at a time. He's like, I was the shit he's saying to him. Well, he's like, it's gonna be a long night until one of these faggots can play in time.
I know he lets the whole class. He's like, we're gonna be here a while. You guys go take a break. The rest of the players, and fuck. It is crazy. They just cycle through it and shit.
And it's for hours. And it isn't until Teller's hands are fucking bleeding all over the cymbals. He finally wins the part of the show, and he's just like, "All right, bitches, clean up the fucking blood off my kid."
You're right. Yeah,
dude. I just it's like his J.K. Simmons' character in this movie. It's like the type of character that you should fucking hate, but he's just so over the top. And he's such an asshole, but he's so funny. It's just like you can't help but like him.
On my time. His tempo. On my tempo.
Were you rushing? Or were you drinking? Yeah. Or how he fucking makes that poor kid who the kid that he singles out.
Who's out of tune?
Out of tune. And it was funny because he wasn't even the person out of tune. And he just looks at him. He's like, and he points out to another student. He's like, for reference, you were the one that are out of tune. He's like, but he didn't know. And that's bad enough.
Yeah, so he's out. But he didn't kick out the guy who was out of tune. Like, what the fuck?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It was wild.
He kicked out the other guy because he didn't know, but the guy who was out of tune didn't cop up to it.
Yeah, well, I think he's because he was scared. But
he gets to stay, and the other guy doesn't.
I think. It's pretty apparent that he wanted to get rid of that kid anyway. Like, he really makes it apparent, like the students he likes and he doesn't like. Or the students he really feels like he needs to push to get them to the level he needs them to be for his show. Because the first festival that Miles Turner plays with the band, they fucking win it. They win it all.
Right.
And it isn't until the second one where shit goes off the rails for him.
One of the quotes from J.K. Simmons. He's talking to a trumpet player or something, and he goes, "That's not your boyfriend's dick. Don't come early."
I honestly, man, I want to fucking watch this movie again. I really liked it.
He's got jokes, man. For some reason, I noticed that, the filter they use. It's very greenish, yellowish.
Yeah.
I was like, was that necessary?
I think it's they're trying to set a certain mood for it because it's for jazz. It's because this is there's lots of different types of jazz, but this is very upbeat jazz music. It's very fast paced. It's almost reminiscent of the 40s ragtime, where it's a much more upbeat version of jazz.
By the way, jazz sucks. No, I'm kidding.
Not all of it. Not all of it.
I'm just not into it. What else we got about this movie?
I kind of like the ending actually of this movie, because it's really interesting. Because this is big spoilers now.
Spoiler.
So, J.K. Simmons' character Fletcher had a student. And I caught this. I was like, oh shit, he lied. So he comes into class, and it's the session where he makes the three drummers keep cycling back and forth. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of it, is he's so upset by the student's death that he's kind of taking it out on them.
Oh yeah.
Because his student Sean, he says, died in a car accident.
Yeah, that part.
And he was pretty distraught over it because he was talking about what a great musician this kid was. Well, you find out later that being in Fletcher's class exacerbated a lot of Sean's problems, and led him to commit suicide. And so Fletcher actually lied about the cause of death, and the family basically was blaming him for like pushing their son over the edge.
I didn't catch that, dude.
Yep. Well, that's why the school comes to Miles
Teller. Yeah.
That's why the school comes to Miles with the lawsuit, because his dad, he's not rich, but I mean he's pretty well off.
Yeah.
But Sean's parents aren't wealthy and they don't have the money to sue, so essentially they get him to go off the record as like an anonymous witness and talk about the kind of treatment that Fletcher puts his students under. And that bar scene is even more impactful because Fletcher knows that Miles is the one that got him fired, or Neiman, I should say. He knows Neiman's, but he's purposely inviting him to play on this big show because he fucking hates his guts and he wants to embarrass him. And so he has him play this song that he doesn't know, and he also doesn't have
the music sheets.
He doesn't have the music sheets for, so he can't even play this song. So J.K. Simmons,
he just
completely embarrasses him in front of this really wealthy, important crowd. That this is like a big New York scene where this is where
and there's like certain people in the crowd that are looking for musicians.
Yeah,
or whatever.
This could make it or break his career.
Right.
And so at first, you think that Miles is done because he walks off stage, and then he's gonna fucking quit and he's never gonna be a musician again. But then he fucking picks up his drumsticks, he walks back to that shit, and he fucking destroys it.
Performance, bro. Oh my god. And you know what? Miles Teller really is a drummer and shit, and he really did play a lot of these scenes and shit. I don't know if you knew that.
I was wondering because it seems very realistic. I was kind of surprised by it.
I don't think he did all of it, but he definitely did.
Well, and I think that's kind of the beauty of the ending of the movie is it's like these two very talented people that have big egos and they fucking hate each other, and they do.
Yeah.
But they give each other a look of acknowledgement, like we just did something really fucking special, and that's like a really fucking cool. Because
that's the end scene, right?
That's the end scene. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just crazy. It's intense, man.
Yeah,
when he slows down the snare drum and then it picks it back up. Fucking A.
And I kind of it kind of gave me respect and understanding for anybody in a career path like that where it's like tattooing or music or being a professional athlete, anything where it's you're doing something super specialized that takes a shit ton of talent and effort, and it's it kind of makes you understand the type of work and obsession it takes to be at that level, and it gives me a shit ton of respect for it, man.
There is earlier in the movie that part where there's the main drummer, and then Miles Teller's the backup drummer or whatever, and he gives him the folder of music, and then he ends up losing it.
Yep.
And then you find out later that J.K. Simmons took the folder just to to get him to, I don't know. He was trying to get.
Well, he wanted Neiman to be the drummer because he was the more talented one.
Yeah.
But he needed a reason to
get rid of the other guy, the first chair guy.
Yeah, because he had been showing up.
And he can't do it without the music. And Miles is like, well, I know the song. I could do it. And then,
Yep.
Puts him in the chair.
Yeah, and it's everything, a lot of the things in the movie that J.K. Simmons is doing, he's literally just doing it to push Miles to be better.
He's manipulating him to work harder.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I mean, that's kind of, it's an interesting thing too, is that kind of teaching style, you could never get away with it now, man. You would 100% get fired for teaching like that. in today's world, it's just completely unacceptable. Which is, it's just really interesting though. Like, I'm just kind of fascinated by it because you just don't really see anyone like that anymore,
Right.
really.
I do love the fact that he's actually playing in this movie. There's a few movies like that, man. The Inside Llewyn Davis, you know that movie? I don't think.
I'm not familiar with it.
I think
no.
I've asked you that, but Oscar Isaac actually plays the guitar and sings.
Okay. Oh,
and
actually,
it's
I
fucking
remember now. Yeah,
magical performance, bro. Like, I love when they capture that shit on film and
Yeah.
in a movie and shit.
Yeah.
That's my shit. How about the part where he wrecks the car?
Dude, that part was so wild, and that's kind of the part where I was just like, where I'm gonna reiterate it again.
Do it up.
When I was talking about obsession, it's like, there's nothing wrong with being passionate and like putting your driving force into something you love, and 'cause some people fucking have fantastic careers out of that, but at a certain point where you're so obsessed where you disregard your well-being, like that is where like you get into like weird territory where it's like, well, if I continue doing this way, am I ever going to be able to, it's like, are you ever going to be able to drum again? It's like, if you go out there and do a performance after just getting in this crazy car wreck, like, you might not be able to use your fucking hand anymore.
Gets in a fucking car wreck and still goes to play drums.
Yeah.
He walks in all beat up and
yeah,
shit.
he's fucking gushing blood from his head. Like his left hand is so fucked up he can't even hold the drumstick because he's probably still he's probably got. I'm gonna say this unironically, whiplash.
Yeah.
From being fucking hit by a semi. Like it's
Whiplash. Speaking of Metallica later. Woo.
Later, buds.
Tribute.
But yeah, man, it's like where obsession takes over your whole life, that it's actually begins to do you harm. Like you gotta kind of reevaluate your priorities.
Right.
And that's kind of I think something Miles starts to do after he gets kicked out for basically getting in a fist fight with J.K. Simmons and getting him fired. Like, kind of starts to reevaluate everything. Like,
Yeah.
because there's nothing wrong with being talented and knowing it, but he does develop like a big head at a certain point.
All right. We should probably wrap this one up, but
Yeah, it's getting about that time.
I got a little. Hold on. Oh, this is TikTok I wanted to play about this movie. It's just got, some facts and shit, but here
Here are some fun facts about the movie Whiplash. Actor J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller both relearned their respective instruments for the movie, and for those intense drum scenes, director Damien Chazelle wouldn't yell cut for Miles Teller so that he would just exhaust himself. And for the scene where Fletcher slaps Andrew, there was a bunch of takes where J.K. Simmons would just mime slapping Teller because he just couldn't do it, but then Chazelle just said for the final take to actually slap Miles, and that's the scene we see in the movie.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
But don't worry, Miles Teller got him back, because in the scene where Andrew tackles Fletcher, J.K. Simmons broke 2 ribs.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I guess J.K. Simmons earned it, because at the end, he won 47 awards for his role as Fletcher.
Jesus.
Here's some fun facts about the movie.
I know.
He
dude.
fucking earned every single one of those, though,
swear.
man. He's amazing in this movie. They honestly both are. They're both fucking
They're both
fantastic.
really good, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. Rewatchability, what do you think?
Fuck yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
I might watch it again this weekend. Like, honestly,
Fucking, it's wild, dude.
it's a good fucking movie.
What was it? It was on HBO or something, right?
It's on Prime, yeah. If you have a Prime account, you just
Prime.
fucking watch it,
That's
yeah.
right. How about rating?
Honestly, man, I give this an 8.5.
I'm at an 8 too. I put around 8, just like the last movie.
Yeah, it's good.
It's fucking good, dude.
Yeah,
But it is, like you said, intense, bro.
yeah, it's very
My
like, there's
asshole was clenched the whole time.
There's always like so much tension, and that's, I think, something that does so well is it keeps ramping up the tension throughout the entire movie, and it never breaks it. It just keeps it there, and
Yeah.
it's like so few movies do that successfully.
There you have it, folks. Damn, another 2 movies in the can.
Another 2 down. Another 2 down.
Now, there's only one thing left to do: pick our next movies.
I had it. Let me take a look here.
Drum roll, please. Get it? Drum roll, Whiplash. Yeah. You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it because I knew what my next one was gonna be, but now I kind of don't.
You know anything about Greta Gerwig? No.
The name sounds familiar.
Well, I'm going to pick one of her movies. It's a movie that I do cry at, so get ready for that.
Okay.
I've seen it twice. This will be my 3rd time. It's called Lady Bird. Ever heard of it?
Yes, it's on my list. Cool.
Really?
Yeah.
It's on your list?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's on my
dude,
list.
It's
Yeah.
good, dude.
All
I
right,
forget
man.
the main actress's name, but it has like Laurie Metcalf. What's her name? From Roseanne, you know?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Becky.
Let me think about this
So,
real
yeah.
quick.
That's what I'm choosing. Lady Bird. I might have to rent it. I don't.
It's on Prime or Netflix. It's on one of those.
I don't
Man.
know about that.
See, I'm gonna tell you what my sister wanted me to pick for the podcast. I'm not gonna pick it, but I am probably gonna watch it.
It's on Paramount.
She wanted me to pick the Muppet movie that has Jason Segel in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I actually really like that movie, but
Is that a battery?
I'm not picking that movie. You
Uh-huh.
know what, man? I'm going to, because I haven't seen this movie and I wanted to watch it, I want to pick The Whale.
Oh, shit.
It's on HBO Max. Yeah,
Is it on HBO Max?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I love that movie, man.
Yeah, so that's my pick this week. I really want to watch it, and sometimes, I get too caught up in stuff, and I can't think of another movie to pick, so I'm going to pick The Whale this time.
All right. Shit. I've already seen it twice. I watched it twice in theaters, so,
Well, third time's the charm, bud.
There you have it, folks. Our camera went out, so that's fine. We're done anyways.
Right. Don't have to look in our ugly faces anymore.
The Whale and Lady Bird next time on Kevin and Drew Talk Movies. That's like a brand new movie, so we're gonna be spoiling some shit, which we always
But
do.
until next time, peace out.
Fair warning. Peace out. All tits matter.
It's a slogan this podcast can get behind.